Fabio Quartararo has already decided how his story ends, and it is not the rescue everyone is selling you. The paddock keeps calling his Honda move and escape. A world champion finally walking away from a dead Yamaha, finally getting his career back. But listen to the man himself, and the fairy tale cracks in a single sentence. He does not talk like someone who just found the exit. He talks like someone who already knows the next room is on fire too. So why is a rider who fought this hard to leave already lowering his own expectations before he even arrives? And what does he know about Honda that the celebration is choosing to ignore? This matters because Quartararo is not a journeyman burning through the back of the grid. He is the last man to win the Premier class on anything other than a Ducati, a champion in his prime, watching his best remaining years drain into a project that stopped moving forward months ago. The Honda deal was supposed to be the moment the bleeding stopped. 2027. New rules, new colours, a clean page. That is the version the headlines want. The problem is that the man signing the deal keeps describing it in a way that sounds nothing like a rescue. And once you hear how he actually talks about it, the whole escape story stops making sense. Start with where he actually is right now. Even on a weekend like the German Grand Prix, where he wrung a 7th out of a bike that has no business running that high, the story underneath did not change. Great rides do not hide the pattern anymore. Round after round, the machine does the same thing it did the round before and the round before that. His frustration was never about one bad Sunday. It is about a pattern he can no longer pretend is temporary. Here is the part that should terrify Yamaha. The V4 engine, the thing that was supposed to drag them back to the front, first appeared last September. Since then, the needle has barely twitched. A full winter of development, a full half-season of racing, and Quartararo is still fighting the same two enemies he has fought for 2 years. No grip and no power. The machine has a new heart and the same disease. And this is a rider who does not hide behind excuses. He has spent seasons carrying an underpowered M1 further up the grid than it had any right to be. So when a rider like that stops talking about setup and starts talking about escape, you pay attention. Because the numbers he put on his own collapse are uglier than anything Yamaha has admitted out loud. Listen to how Quartararo described his own season. Last year I finished 2 seconds from Alex, and this year it's 35 seconds, he said, before adding the line that really stings. I'm not stupid. I remember how to ride. Read that again. A world champion is telling you the gap to a rider he used to race wheel to wheel has not doubled, has not tripled. It has multiplied more than 10 times over. And he is going out of his way to say the problem is not him. That is not a rider making an excuse. That is a rider drawing a hard line between his own talent and the machine bolted underneath it. And, there is one more thing he said, almost in passing, that should have stopped the celebration cold. Talking about the Honda move, everyone keeps calling his salvation. Quartararo said this: "It's not because I changed that everything is going to be perfect." Sit with that. The man at the very centre of the rescue story just told you the rescue might not rescue anything. He is not selling the dream. He is quietly warning you about it. And when the person escaping the fire tells you the exit might lead somewhere just as hot, maybe the smart move is to ask what he can see that you can't. So what does he see? Start with the truth. Nobody in the celebration wants to say out loud, Honda has spent years fighting the exact same illness that is currently killing Quartararo's Yamaha. Not enough grip, not enough top speed. Those are the 2 words that have haunted the Honda garage since Marc Marquez walked out the door. Honda has clawed back some ground, enough to edge ahead of Yamaha lately, but it is still nowhere near the European machines. Quartararo is not leaving a broken Japanese bike for a fixed one. He is leaving one struggling Japanese project for another, and the paddock is applauding like he just signed for a factory Ducati. Then there is the thing his entire gamble actually rests on, and it is not the Honda badge. It is a set of rules that do not even exist yet. 2027 tears up the current formula and drops the whole grid to 850 cubic centimetres. A reset button pressed on the entire sport at once. That reset is the real reason a champion signed for a team still stuck near the back of the grid. Not because he believes in the Honda of today, but because he is betting the blank page of 2027 lets a sleeping giant wake up faster than Yamaha will. It is a bet on a rulebook, not on a motorcycle. And nobody, not Honda, not Quartararo, knows whether the giant actually wakes up or just rolls over. And this is where the whole story turns. Because once you line it up properly, the Yamaha Nightmare and the Honda Rescue are not opposites at all. They are the same story told twice. Two proud Japanese giants who dominated a decade ago, both blown into the weeds by Ducati, both promising their rider that next year, next engine, next rule change, it all comes good. Quartararo already lived that promise at Yamaha. Now he is buying the identical promise from Honda. And he is honest enough to admit he knows exactly what it is. People thought this was about Quartararo escaping a bad team. It was never about the team. It was about a rider gambling that the entire Japanese model can be rebuilt before his career runs out. That is the belief flip. The enemy was never Yamaha Blue. The enemy is a way of building motorcycles that Europe has left behind, and Quartararo is not escaping it. He is doubling down on it, just wearing a different colour while he does. A rider who was truly escaping would sound relieved. Quartararo sounds braced. He talks like a man who has already read the last chapter of this exact book and signed up to read it again anyway. So let us be honest about what this move really is. Quartararo lowering his own expectations was not humility. It was information. When he said, "For sure, I will have some difficulties in my next chapter," he was not being modest. He was telling you the outcome before it happens. He knows the 850cc reset might save them or bury them even deeper. He signed anyway, because staying on a Yamaha that stopped developing was the only guaranteed dead end. And a gamble beats a certainty when the certainty is losing. But make no mistake about the size of what he is risking. These are the last prime years of a world champion. And he is spending them on a bet that a rule book can do what two of the proudest factories in racing have failed to do on their own. If 2027 works, he looks like a genius who timed the reset perfectly. If it does not, a champion will have burned his best remaining seasons changing the colour of a bike that was always going to lose. That is not an escape. That is a coin flip, and he is calling it out loud. So the real question was never whether Quartararo could survive Yamaha. It is whether anything built in Japan can survive Ducati in time to save him. Do you think Honda rescues him, or is he just trading one dead end for another? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.